prophecies and conspiracies. Peering into darkness is what we do. Derek and Sharon Gilbert break it all down for you.
Singing us in again, it's AI Elvis. Thank you, and welcome to PID Radio. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert. We are delighted that you've chosen to join us once again in our bunker home.
Yes, they know where we are. Anyway.
They all know where we are.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been doing this a long time. Of course, we've had to move a number of times since then. Had nothing to do with trying to stay ahead of the law or anything like that. Just life has taken some strange turns over the past 21 years of this podcast.
Oh, my goodness. We've had so many so-called bunkers.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I've lost count. Say St. Louis.
First baseman in St. Louis.
Yeah, then there were 3 in Shelbyville.
We lived in an apartment in Columbia.
And then a townhouse. So there's 2 in Columbia.
Yeah, 2 in, well, it was a duplex. And then we moved to Shelbyville. And we were in 3 different homes.
Right.
The third one, you had a bunker that was on the 3rd floor.
Yeah. It was one of those magnificent 2.5-story Foursquares. And so, the bunker was up the stairs to the 3rd floor attic.
It was huge up there. I was always amazed that it hadn't been finished out.
Yeah. So,
and then we moved to Illinois.
So that's 6. Then we had 7 in Illinois, and then here. And this one, of course, has been our longest 11 years here.
I think you and I have lived here longer than we've ever stayed in one place in our married lives.
That is correct. So thank you for joining us here. Pull up a chair, a cup of coffee, and if you've not already done so, please download our app, which is a great way to guarantee you never miss any of our content, but also guarantee we never get canceled. If you're subscribing to us on YouTube, thank you for that. We do appreciate that. Please subscribe. Hit that the like button. Give us some high points if you get a chance. Yes, notification bell so that anytime we do anything. And we are planning to do more live programs. Once we get past the conferences.
Yes, we have 2 conferences coming up. And once we get past that conference season, which will be mid to late August, we plan on arranging the furniture in the spare room that's off of our bedroom where my little writing room is.
Yeah.
We're going to kind of make that into a studio. We've used that as a studio before, and this just so that you don't have to run the risk of falling on gravel between here and the barn. And come winter, we're going to be very glad we've got an indoor studio.
Yeah, that the driveway between here and the barn can get a little slick. We don't get much snow here in the Ozarks, but we are prone to freezing rain several times a winter.
Now, we are considering upgrading our gravel driveway just in that area in front of the barn to asphalt. And if any of you has ever done that, then let us know in the comments or send us a note at info@gilberthouse.org. We have no idea what the cost would be, and that none at all. But it would give a safer surface that I could actually put you in a transport chair and wheel you all the way out there.
Yeah, but our prayer, of course, is that the infusion therapy that I begin on Monday will, and which will be repeated every 3 weeks for the foreseeable future, will restore enough of my physical abilities that the transport chair will not be necessary.
Amen to that. That would be wonderful. Yeah. By the way, that day, Monday, will mark 28 years since you and I met.
Yes, virtually. Yeah, that was the first email that I sent to you.
29.
29.
29, because we met in 1997. So
correct.
29 years.
Yeah. We were early adopters to online dating. She was in Bloomington, Indiana, and I was in suburban St. Louis. And that led to, all of our friends, hers and mine, both thinking that we were both crazy. But as we have since proven, the Lord knew what he was doing. Online dating is not something we would necessarily recommend to everybody, but it certainly worked out in our case.
It did. God is really good, and he just happened to choose that method to put us together. Who knew? By the way...
Circling back, because I didn't finish, pidradio.com/app, gilberthouse.org/app to download the app, and also get a link to the smart TV and set-top boxes locations, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Android TV. Again, gilberthouse.org/app.
Sounds like a good one.
Now we
Go
finished
there.
that up.
Now we finished that up. By the way,
We're only rambling because we're old.
well,
Get over
get
it.
used to it. I did go to school, graduated from Indiana University. So if you're from Indiana or living in Indiana, say hi. But I'm kind of glad we're not in Indiana right now eating at a Taco Bell, because Indiana is one of the states, one of the 5 states where there is a very strong connection between the iceberg lettuce served at certain Taco Bells in those 5 states and getting very sick, throwing up a lot.
Yeah, they're calling it they're calling it explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, it's linked
It's
to...
really, cyclospora is the
It is.
parasite.
You don't want that. And apparently the lettuce came from Mexico.
Yeah, which seems a little odd. I mean, I know we get a lot of produce from the Southern Hemisphere because
We do.
we here in the United States want our produce fresh all year round, and the growing season is not year round.
No.
So we bring produce up from the Southern Hemisphere, Central America, South America, so
Well,
that we can
Derek
get...
and I don't on our own, but you know,
No,
the United
but
States
we
does.
Americans, and I imagine Europeans do it as well.
They do.
Bring things up from areas where you can grow crops year round. But it has led to some people getting very, very sick in and out. The Babylon Bee has had a lot of fun with it, but if you're one of the people who's been afflicted with this, it ain't funny.
Well, let me tell you, when you had pneumonia,
Yeah.
you had come down with some sort of a flu or cold or whatever. I had it too, but it didn't affect me very badly.
Influenza A, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, it was. It led to your pneumonia, but you also had diarrhea for a couple of days before we actually took you to the hospital.
And it continued.
And it continued. And I tell you what, if you are someone who is living with an autoimmune disorder or you're a cancer patient, there are a lot of folks who have reduced immunity or it is intentionally depressed because of an autoimmune disorder like Derek's. That person doesn't fight off these things very well. And it makes me wonder if there was some aspect to that influenza A, the way it hit you, because it didn't hit me in my GI tract at all.
Yeah.
But it did you.
Yeah, and I dropped 20 pounds in those 10 days. From the time the influenza hit, I was in the hospital for 7 days. So over the course of those 10 days.
And I think there have been a couple of deaths over this, if I remember correctly. So forgive me if I'm wrong. But people hospitalized. Yeah.
It weakened me to the point where I had to hit the bell for the nursing staff every time I needed to use the commode. And they had to put a portable commode right next to the hospital bed because I could not make it.
And that's because of your disability to walk on your own.
Well, that, but also because when it came on, there was no time for me to get from the bed
Point A to point B.
to the restroom that was in the hospital room. Yeah, it was bad. It was not funny.
No.
I'll just say this. I ruined a couple pair of those little yellow grippy socks they give you. And it's like, well, that goes in the biological waste
but they gave
bag.
you a brand new pair before they discharged you. Isn't that nice?
They did. Yeah, I got to bring one of those pairs
I know,
home,
it's
which
a
was kinda nice.
souvenir.
Yeah, the nursing staff was very gracious. And I'll tell you what, when you are that weak and debilitated, you just have to get over any sense of modesty that you might have with you because there is just...
You have to allow someone else to look after you for all things.
Right. In some ways it would normally be very embarrassing,
Yeah.
but you get to a point where you just can't help it. So the people who are dealing with this cyclospora, this parasitic infection that causes this response is just...
Right. And it's another reason to, I think I often forget or neglect to wash vegetables when they come into the house or fruits. And it's really a good idea because you never know. They're allegedly all washed before they're packaged, but you have no idea whether or not something has hitched a ride along the way.
Right. So be be mindful. I think we Americans in particular sort of take for granted that everything is washed, cleaned, fresh, and that wasn't the case even up to 100 years ago. But in many parts of the world, that's not a given at all. So,
and I'm going to mention a connected story here in a second. But those of you who do routinely wash your produce, I'd love to know what your favorite way to do it is, because there are a lot of ways to do it, and there are products you can buy. But I'm betting that there are inexpensive home solutions without having to buy the expensive vegetable wash products.
Yeah. That would be...
So let us know in the comments.
In the comments, or send us a note at info@gilberthouse.org.
I would love it. But the linked story is, while the United States is dealing with the diarrhea lettuce, Salmonella Stanley, which is a strain of Salmonella, has been affecting and outbreaking in many countries in Europe. 13 countries plus the UK. So a total of 1,400 confirmed cases. This is allegedly linked to those sort of flavored noodles you can get, the dehydrated ones that you just add water.
Oh, okay. The ramen type noodles.
That kind of noodles.
Yeah.
I don't know what the manufacturer is. Let me see. It's flavored noodles. Let me see if I can find the manufacturer.
When you first mentioned the story, Salmonella Stanley, I thought this was some sort of strange government ploy to, teach kids about, proper food safety or something.
I know,
Here, listen to
because it sounds...
Salmonella Stanley says,
it does.
wash
It
your
sounds
chicken
like a
before
Muppet or something.
Yeah, Nephilim Ned.
Yeah, oh my
And
gosh.
his fallen friends.
No, it's just a strain probably named after someone who discovered it. Trying to see. It's European noodles outbreak. Flavored noodle products are the most likely source of the ongoing multi-country outbreak of infections. Again, this is something that affects you in your GI tract. It is not a fun thing to have going on.
No.
Salmonellosis includes diarrhea, fever, stomach pain, nausea, and vomiting, typically lasting for a few days. I've had salmonella. It is not fun. Essentially, it's another word for the type of food poisoning. Back when I was in Life Unlimited, we ate at church social kind of dinners, and we were late getting to a particular church. It was delicious food. Oh my gosh. Imagine going to a church pitch-in dinner every day for 11 and a half months. Well, that's what we did. And
still having to fit into your
and still having to fit into our clothing, exactly.
Yeah.
So we had to be very careful. But we were late getting to the church. They had set it up for luncheon, and because we were going to sing that evening. And there had been some product, I want to say it was maybe ham, that had been sitting out for those hours that we were late getting there, because we drove and we had maps, and this was before, any sort of GPS tracker. By the time we were about 3 songs into the first half of our concert, individuals started leaving the risers. We were dropping like flies. And I thought I had avoided it. We were trying to pinpoint it, and it didn't hit me until about 11 o'clock that night, and I was sick all night, and I just hugged that toilet like a cold friend. It's not fun.
No. We had a similar experience, although not as severe, when we were in Israel back in
yes, that's right.
2023. We had...
We'd stopped in Eilat.
A little, yes.
Well, not Eilat. It was the one on the Jordan side. Aqaba.
No, I'm thinking of a different... But you're right. There were a number of people who
got
had...
sick there.
Salad of some sort, or was the strawberries? I forget which.
I can't remember what it was.
But yes, they had a very difficult time. You and I avoided that, but you and I in 2023.
Oh my goodness, we did.
We stopped in Caesarea, which is on the coast. Ancient Caesarea. We visited the Roman Hippodrome, which was where they had the chariot races, and we had
gone to a
stopped
frozen
in a little
yogurt place.
Frozen yogurt place, right? And they had a mocha flavored yogurt.
It was
and
delicious.
It was sugar free.
It was
And we
absolutely.
thought, wow, this is great. This is delicious. So we each had one of those while we were waiting for the rest of the group to catch up to us. And then after we had gone through the sites there and visited everything there at Caesarea, we went back to this place. It's like, okay, lunchtime. Well, hey, let's finish off lunch with another one of these. Now, they were
But-
sugar-free.
We determined what it was that was in it because we asked.
Yes.
This is really good. What'd you put in here?
Yeah, and it was sweetened with xylitol, which is here in the U.S. It's often used to sweeten toothpaste and things, but it's not often used in food. And
I think there are regulations against it.
Yeah,
in the US.
because there are people who are sensitive to xylitol, as we discovered. We made it to the hotel in Nazareth just in the nick of time.
In time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it was short-lived. I mean, by the morning
Right.
we were fine.
Right.
But no, we don't do xylitol.
No, not at all.
You know cats can't have xylitol?
Did not know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
poison
cats are
to them.
pretty. Did Portia tell you about that?
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Portia told me a lot of things.
Yeah. She and her kittens are still out there on the front porch.
Yeah, the kittens are getting much more friendly and much more unafraid to come up and hang out with me. They like to. They're getting now to where they will, and this is a good sign. They'll start to go around my legs. That is when we had Guillermo, the kitten that was, I don't know, dropped off or found here for whatever reason. He was about the age these kittens are now when we first discovered him out front. And he stayed, we kept him until it was obvious that he wanted to come inside.
Yeah.
So then we
Yeah.
found a wonderful widow lady who just lost one of her cats, and she was happy, so happy to take him. And we've already found homes for Portia and the 3 kittens. We just need to get the kittens ready for an indoor experience, ready to go into the crate to drive away.
Right. Yeah.
So I go out there a lot.
Portia is.
Portia already wants to come in.
Yeah, exactly. The kittens are just still a little shy.
The kittens, by the way, are named Wink and Blink and a Nod.
Well, the mainstream media, the corporate media, legacy media, whatever term you want it is, we're actually acting like Wink and Blink and a Nod this week. President Trump on Thursday night had a major speech on election integrity. And of the legacy media outlets, broadcast media, that is, CBS was the only one that carried it. NBC and ABC refused. CNN, MS Now, likewise also refused to carry it. And the reason President Trump gave this speech is to announce the declassification of information that was brought to light, I believe, by the former Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she declassified a number of things which the corporate media has likewise refused to report on, like the the actions of former NIH Director Dr. Anthony Fauci. We won't go into detail about that. Last time we talked about him at any length, which was back around 2020. Even though we were only reporting on things that were in the corporate media, we had programs yanked from a couple of video sharing platforms. But the point of this speech Thursday night was to basically reveal to the American public the extent to which not just that China was actively engaging in an effort to tilt the 2020 presidential election for Joe Biden. And I think we have to put Joe Biden in air quotes because we now know that he wasn't really calling the shots during his 4 years.
Oh, no.
It was, the team behind him that was hiding his disability, his cognitive impairment from the press.
Did you see, I think it was Babylon Bee, one of their wonderful tongue-in-cheek graphics that they share on their website, showed Biden, and he said, Biden is so excited, he just can't wait to see what Otto Penn says in his autobiography.
Yeah. That's about right.
I know.
Yeah, we did a program a few months back called Who Was Otto Penn? The New York Times ran an article on Friday trying to debunk what President Trump had said on Thursday night. But the point is that is not so much that the president revealed information that wasn't already known. I think those of us who have been paying attention were already aware that China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela especially, because that's the source of the voting machines. And they developed methods to alter results digitally.
We've covered that.
Yeah.
Previously on PID
Right.
Radio, going back to the Columbia days.
Yeah. Yes. When I've talked to
Black box voting.
Bev Harris of Black Box Voting. Gosh, I'll have to bring that out for a Way Back Wednesday View from the Bunker.
Well, that will get us kicked off.
Tried to interview her again within the last few years, and she was not interested. But I had her on the air in Columbia, Missouri, back in 2006.
She should get out there and talk.
Yeah, but
did you see that? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The point is not so much that there was any new information, because most of this, again, as you pointed out, we've been talking about for almost 20 years, more than 20 years. It was that he declassified that information. And as we speak, there is a grand jury impaneled in Fort Pierce, Florida, that is looking into how this information was kept from the president. That's what's really at issue here. The intelligence community, it's the CIA and the FBI, were massaging the president's daily briefing, which is the information he's given every morning. So here's what's going on, here's what you need to pay attention to, here's what North Korea is doing, here's what the EU is doing, and so on, so that he knows what priorities, both domestic and foreign, he needs to be paying attention to, and what he needs to focus on. And they scrubbed the PDB of any information that would have alerted him to the fact that China was creating hundreds of thousands of phony voter registrations that they intended to use to favor Joe Biden in the election. To the point where they've got emails from a former FBI officer named Nikki Flores. She is now working as the director of internal security or something at Microsoft.
Oh.
Yeah. Landed on her feet, golden parachute. I did try to follow her, the link to her LinkedIn profile, which has been deleted. Yeah. But she actually said, we have deliberately, I'm quoting now, we have deliberately massaged our one pending PDB, President's Daily Briefing, to avoid any direct links to the election. The massive report we've been waiting on has been chopped up into 13 reports that will likely not get out until late next week. All of them will be cross-posted, blah, blah, blah. But
chopped up into 13 reports. An interesting way to put that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Osiris. Sorry. That's just where my brain goes.
Oh, interesting. And then the next email says, well, I am basically running a shadow government across the FBI at this point.
Admitting it.
Yes. Admitting that they have been filtering the information that that got to President Trump back in 2020 in the lead up to the election so that he wouldn't do anything to counter what China was doing to try to tilt the election to Joe Biden.
China is playing a long game. China has a long memory and wants to take the West down, and buying up land here, a lot of it's farmland, investing in data centers here, investing in the 1,000 Talents program, interfering with local and national elections. By the way, Markwayne Mullen, who is the DHS secretary,
right,
has threatened to go after the local election officials.
Yeah.
If they agree to play a game with the electoral results?
Yeah, and we know that the FBI raided the records of Fulton County, Georgia, a few months back. So there may be some indictments coming in that regard. But the fact that the point with the declassification is that the grand jury in Florida has had their work hindered by the fact that a lot of the information they were trying to get, which is what we're discussing, had been classified. So trying to get it declassified through normal channels was slow because you've got other deep state actors who want to hide what they were doing. President Trump just overruled all of that and said, okay, all of this has been declassified so that the grand jury can now take it and act upon it.
But here's why I mention going after the local election officials. That's really where the work is done. The local officials who are just, many of them, doing what they've been told to do.
Right.
Your mother worked elections.
Yeah.
My sister worked elections. Imagine if they were just doing what they were told to do, and then someone knocks on the door and you're arrested.
Yeah.
That puts the fear into the local election officials, but also it puts the anger into, doesn't matter which stripe you're wearing, blue or red, it would put a very angry face on those people. We have a country that is divided right now.
Yes.
And there are many folks who are, whether they understand that they're part of a bigger plot or not, they are taking their placards and wearing the little uniforms and going to protests and going there every day and probably getting their little paycheck for the day.
Yep.
Getting on a bus, traveling, whatever, because these individuals either are very impressionable because of their age or otherwise, or they have a lot of anger in their hearts, and then that gets into spiritual warfare. Because what's going on in the U.S. is ultimately part of the true shadow government, these spiritual shadows that are running it all.
Yeah. Yeah. We wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Exactly.
I read that somewhere.
You know, you and I, and this is why PID radio stands for Peering into Darkness. We're taking a look at the shadows behind the headlines. And if you only look at the headlines, you'll end up getting really angry.
Yeah.
But as believers who actually do, believers in Christ who actually believe what Paul wrote was true, then we have to look behind those headlines. Otherwise, it'll drive us nuts.
Yeah. And you have no hope. That's the fact that the Christian worldview explains all of this and says, why do and of course you go back to, Psalm 2, why do the nations rage and imagine a vain thing?
Right.
You look at those things, say, okay, these fools, these people who are taking money from the Chinese Communist Party to go out and protest, they think they're actually going to win. They think they're winning. And I'm not talking about political winning. I'm not talking about elections. They think they're going to run the world and rule the world forever. They're going to eliminate all opposition. It will be one-party rule. Communism will be the rule, or Islam will be the rule of the world, or the rule by which the entire world lives. And they're wrong. They are deluded. And it's sad when you think about it, because they're pouring so much time and energy and emotion and hatred into what they do. And it eats you up. That is a corrosive emotion. I have been very angry at certain people throughout the course of my life. The owner of the radio station that fired me by phone call, long distance phone call.
We all go through stuff like that.
Things like that. And you can let that stuff just chew you up. It's like rust. Little pieces of yourself corrode, flake off, and fall away. And pretty soon you've got nothing but an empty hole inside of you. That's what is driving many of these people, and has driven them for, in some cases, decades, in other cases, centuries. We know from Scripture how things are going to end. Not in terms of specific details. We can argue over, pre, mid, post, whatever. But the ending will be glorious. The glory that is to come will make the trials and sufferings that we endure today seem as nothing. So just remember, when these people are on their little protest picket line with their pre-printed signs paid for by Neville Royce Singham or whoever, just bless their pointed little heads and just don't get angry back. That's what the enemy wants.
Pray for them.
Pray for them.
Yes, yes. Along with this shadow...
Boy, I can just imagine that. Just think about that. The people shouting and yelling, and you just walk up to their protest line and say, "May I pray for you?" And just see what kind of reaction you'll
They'd get angry.
Oh, sure.
Don't you preach to me.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You'd end up getting arrested, especially in the UK. Because the UK, again, this is the canary in the coal mine for the West.
Yeah.
The UK is really turning into a Muslim nation.
Yep.
There will come a tipping point eventually where they will either have civil war or enough individuals have either died out because those families aren't having as many kids, or they simply have left the UK and gone elsewhere out of disgust, because the number of individuals who are practicing Muslims in the UK is rising. And I shared a wonderful Substack post. I shared it on X, written by Bishop Carrion, I think he's Irish. He was writing about the defender of the faith, which is King Charles III. That is one of his biggest titles as king. Defender of the faith. The Church of England. Christianity is what he's there to defend.
Right.
And instead, he chose to take the oath as defender of faith. And I'm sorry, I like the royal family a lot. I write about the royal family in the Red Wing Saga. However, in reality, the royal family, with the death of the late Queen Elizabeth II, who was a staunch Christian, she left behind a son who has been a seeker his entire life. And he's a bit wishy-washy. And he has had a lot of Muslim friends, many of them very wealthy, and I think in his mind, it appears that he sees this as a very benevolent culture that we can learn a lot from. Instead, the Muslims who are taking over the UK are not there to be benevolent.
They are not.
And Charles is heading up a direction that will leave his country in tatters. If when the day comes that he crosses over with that final breath and Prince William is declared the new king, William may not have a Christian country to rule over. In fact, the monarchy may even be gone by then.
And we know King Charles has been diagnosed with cancer, and he's dealing with this.
You would think he would draw, if he is a Christian, that he would draw closer to the Lord. We as believers are to confess our faith in him. And instead, Charles is confessing Islam.
He one of his official titles is Supreme Governor of the Church of England.
I know.
And while we reject the idea of hierarchical churches, especially with a monarch as the head of the church.
That's just a bad idea.
It is. You take that to its logical extreme, and disagreeing with the government becomes heresy.
But
theological differences become treason. That's just a bad idea.
But he took an oath as monarch when he was during the coronation ceremony. He is anointed by God himself, anointed to be a God-chosen king. We know in Scripture that the Lord raises up leaders,
Romans
and He
13.
also pulls them down.
Daniel
And
5,
I'll tell
yeah.
you what, Charles,
Yeah, the crown has certainly drifted in the UK from where it was. And yes, I know Henry VIII had his own selfish reasons for splitting with the Church
he
of
was
Rome.
actually Catholic in his heart.
Yeah. He just wanted
He just wanted a divorce.
a divorce that the Pope wouldn't give him. But yeah, Islam is taking over the United Kingdom. There are no-go zones in many British communities, and the fact that we'll call them grooming gangs, but that's a softer term
It
than
is,
what it really
for what really
is,
goes on.
that they've been protected by the government and by law enforcement in the UK. It says a lot. The people there are either going to just be subjugated, or there's going to be some violent repercussions to what's been going on there. And here in North America, we're already seeing imams that are, and we talked about this here in previous weeks, about taking over the United States. They're not here to assimilate, they are here to dominate. Europe, the same way. The only groups of people that are having babies at above replacement rate here in the United States right now are Muslims and the Amish. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of the, say, the Latino communities, Roman Catholic. But yeah, for the most part, the non-native born are the ones who are having the most children. Mm-hmm. And they will eventually, other than the Amish, and they will eventually take over.
Well, you and I have a good friend, Mark Sutherland, who, is he still living in Scotland? Mm-hmm. He knows what's going on, and he talks very openly about what's going on. He's been in the film industry for years, and so he's seen from the inside out what the programming has been, but as a believer, he frankly doesn't get a whole lot of work, because who wants someone building scenery that is going to talk about Jesus?
Yeah.
In the film industry, they don't want that.
He's been over here. I think he's back over in the UK right now. He's been on with John Haller on his weekly prophecy updates. This past week for sure, maybe the last couple. But John is not able to put any weight on the surgically repaired Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
Yet. So he's got to do his prophecy update from home.
His surgeon described that tendon tear as looking a bit like a mop.
Yeah.
A bad mop.
Yeah. My tendon is like noodles. Mark was over here working on a documentary.
Was he in Arizona or?
South Carolina.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And now I'm going to forget what the topic of the documentary was, but regardless, he's been commenting on what's going on in the UK for some time, and he's just not happy about it. As I think many patriots in the UK are, they're seeing their communities being flooded with migrants who have been crossing the channel illegally or using the back door, which we described the gentleman who tried to decapitate the fellow there in
Northern Ireland.
Belfast. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. They fly. In that case, the man accused, the man caught on video.
Oh no, it was in
Dublin.
the Republic of Ireland. It was in Dublin.
Dublin, right?
He got into Belfast because Northern Ireland is part of
the UK.
Is that how it went? No, it's the other way around. Republic of Ireland.
I thought I had it right.
Yeah. Northern Ireland is part of the UK. The Republic of Ireland is part of the European Union. So he got into the Republic of Ireland and then crossed over because it's a relatively porous border. Right.
They got an agreement where people can cross over without border checks and passports and things like that.
I think they've got border checkers now.
Right. So they this particular guy flew into Dublin and then took a bus to Belfast.
Right.
And had been living in Belfast for several years. So those who are not crossing the channel in the little rubber dinghies are using the back door by flying into Dublin. And it's awful because it is changing the fundamental nature of the United Kingdom. We saw it when we were there in 2018, 19. So we were there 7 years ago. Good friend Juan Renau.
Oh my goodness, love Juan and Margaret so much.
Yeah, our favorite Spanish Scotsman.
Yep. Also John and Terry.
Yes, John Parsons and Terry Jane took us around, and most of the country, you couldn't tell that this invasion is taking place. I mean, we drove to Gloucester and then went up to Lancashire, and then up to Scotland from there. And of course, we spent a day in Kent and then a couple of days in the London area. But in London, yes, when we went to Whitechapel to visit the sites that you write about in the Red Wing saga.
Exactly.
We saw banners hanging from light posts that were promoting some Muslim charity. And the man whose picture was on these banners looked for all the world like Osama bin Laden.
He was an absolute dead ringer for Osama bin Laden. We thought it was when we first saw them.
And we saw a lot of open-air kiosks on the streets and people walking around in, Muslim garb, the women especially.
Yeah.
Wearing the, I'll be honest, I can't tell the difference between a hijab and a burqa and a...
The burqa's full body.
Okay, the burqa. Okay. Walking around in the burqas, like, is this England? Because England derives from the word Angle, which was one of the Germanic tribes that invaded in the 5th century and took over from the Britons, who couldn't fight them off.
And then the other Germanic bunch, the Saxons.
The Saxons who came along with them, So Anglo-Saxon, but it's Angleland. And we didn't see too many people who looked like they were German.
Not in Whitechapel, we did not.
No.
Now, mind you, we were not harassed in any way. We actually felt pretty safe. But I think if we went there today, we might not feel as safe.
Yeah, I think things have shifted a little bit. But I remember when we were there, John Cleese of Monty Python got all kinds of grief for saying that London isn't English anymore. And people would say, well, how dare you say such a racist thing?
And now the mayor, Sadiq Khan, comes right out and says white people don't represent London.
Yeah. Well, they kind of do. I mean...
They kind of do, because the tipping point the tipping point has not been reached yet. But
it's getting close.
It's getting very close. And spiritually speaking, the spirits behind Islam are driving this. And they want the entire world to be converted.
Right.
And they want the bloodshed. And the entity at the head of that pantheon is very thirsty for that blood. Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about in, really, that's the main point of my presentation for the upcoming conference in Ohio, the Go Therefore conference. In fact, probably for both of the conferences that are coming up. I'm just going to kind of approach them a little differently. But the book War of the Watchers is where the information comes from.
And no, the book isn't out yet.
Yeah, it
we won't have it with us, but it is coming out in September.
September 21st, the autumnal equinox.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, didn't plan that, but that's the day. If I were to rewrite the book or update the book, Bad Moon Rising, which is about the spirits behind Islam. I argued back in 2018 when I wrote that book that Allah was not an entity. It was a sort of a simulacrum like the Wizard of Oz. And that there were a number of spirits behind the scenes that were pretending that there was this God named Allah, and that it was the old gods of Mesopotamia who had been caught by surprise by the resurrection of Jesus, which Paul wrote about in 1 Corinthians 2, I believe. I'm going to look up the verse so I'm not speaking out of turn. But basically said if the archons of the age had been aware of the secret that God was revealing, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. And let me see. Yes, I was right. Beginning of verse 6, yet among the mature we do impart wisdom, although it is not a wisdom of this age or of the archons, the rulers of this age. He's not talking about
What
politicians.
version are you reading? Because it's not in the
ESV.
KJV.
ESV.
Oh, okay.
Who are doomed to pass away. The archons of this age are doomed to pass away. But we impart a secret and hidden wisdom of God, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the archons of this age, the rulers of this age, understood
I'm not even
this.
finding that in the
1 Corinthians
spelling.
2, verse 6.
Okay.
None of the rulers of this age understood this, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. So that was the premise on which I based Bad Moon Rising, and I wrote about the various chief deities of Mesopotamia, Enlil and Baal, and the Levant, Baal, Baal, Inanna, Astarte, Ishtar, Resheph / Apollo, the plague god, the god of war, and argued that Allah was sort of a conglomeration, or a simulacrum put forward to create a new religion for the purpose of, well, two things. Number one, shedding a lot of blood. But number two, wiping out Christians and Jews, if at all possible. Now, they've not been able to do that for 1,400 years, but now you've got the bastions of Christendom, Europe and North America, especially Canada, just welcoming the enemy in with open arms.
Amen. By the way,
And again, principalities and powers, not the humans.
I just wanted, for those who are looking in your Bible and not finding the word archons, it is not in there.
No,
in
no,
the
no.
English.
No, of course not.
It's rulers.
Right.
It's
Archons is the Greek word.
Yes, I want to make sure that they understand that, because
Yeah.
they're going, it doesn't say that, Derek.
Yeah. No.
1 Corinthians 2, verse 6, where it says, although it is not a wisdom of the age or the rulers of this age.
Yeah.
Talking about true wisdom, because these archons will die like men.
Yeah. And archon is a term that can refer to human rulers here, but in all likelihood, Paul was not referring to human rulers.
He was not. By the way, that's where the word anarchy comes from.
Without rulers. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the Faith Life Study Bible says the Greek word here, archon, can refer either to human or to divine beings. This term may refer to Jewish and Roman officials who were involved in the crucifixion of Christ. It could also refer to evil spiritual entities. Compare John 12:31 and 14:30. John 12:31, now is the judgment of this world. Now will the ruler, the archon of this world, be cast out. That would be Satan. And 14:30, I will no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world, the archon of this world, is coming. So I lean to the interpretation that Paul was referring to the spirits, the principalities and powers behind the scenes that were manipulating humans, Pontius Pilate, Sanhedrin, and so forth. If they understood what was going on, they wouldn't have sent Jesus to the cross, because that fulfilled his mission.
Yeah, and I think it was both. I think it was the human rulers who were involved in it, but they were being moved by the spirit rulers, the archons.
Right.
By the way, go ahead.
Finishing my point, the thing I would change if I were to update Bad Moon Rising is I would revise it that it is not a simulacrum, that Allah is an entity, and that Allah, and I will make this point in the presentation in Ohio for sure, I haven't finished the one for Springfield yet, that Allah is Molech, who is Shemiyaza, the leader of the Genesis 6 rebellion, who is known by many names by many different cultures. El of the Canaanites, Dagon of the Philistines, Kronos of the Greeks, Saturn of the Romans. Same entity, different names. That's Allah.
Yes. He is called Melech, or Molech, because he is the king of Tartarus.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
by the way, if you are thinking, I want to order that book, I know it's not out until September, but I want to pre-order it. I would love to pre-order it too. So I was looking at Amazon to see if it's available yet as a pre-order. No, I don't see it, but I looked under Books by Derek to see if I could see it pop up. And lo and behold, I'm reading down this list of books by Derek, you know, Day the Earth Stands Still, Second Coming of Saturn, Gates of Hell, Veneration, and suddenly there is Brian Godawa's When Watchers Ruled the Nations. Godawa sneaking in. Oh yeah, I'm totally the book you should be buying instead of Derek's. Don't buy his book. No,
Well,
Brian Godawa is a great author.
We do recommend
we
his,
love him so much. So you can't go wrong with buying a
Well, I'll
Godawa
send a
book.
note to Penny because she said she would make sure that it's available to pre-order when the conferences come up, which we'll talk about because the conference in Ohio is coming up next weekend.
Well, I know. And by the way, you can stream it, and we'll tell you all about that in just a minute. What other news is going on in the world?
Well,
Keir Starmer's out. The moving van came in yesterday and started loading up his stuff, and I saw Larry the cat was, kicking Starmer out, which is best. But the guy going in is no better and possibly even worse, because at least Keir Starmer has had 14 years as leader of the loyal opposition to sharpen his wits a bit and understand what actually does take place in Parliament. Whereas, what's his name? The guy is so forgetful that I'm trying to think, who is it that's going in? Burnham. Not Branham. Oh, not Branham.
Yeah, King of the North.
It's Andy Burnham, who might be called Sandy Burnham. There are some that, we don't know. But he's blaming Margaret Thatcher for the current condition in which Great Britain finds itself. Andy Burnham has spent the last few years as mayor of Manchester. Manchester, like Birmingham, predominantly Muslim.
Yeah. We talked about the mounted Sharia patrols in Manchester a couple of months ago.
Yes. Well, he was mayor of Manchester at that time.
Right.
So do you really think that putting this man, who apparently was a terrible mayor, putting him in charge of the entire United Kingdom?
It'd be like electing Pete Buttigieg president.
Kind of, wouldn't it be? Yeah.
Interesting.
So, look, he was not elected. Andy Burnham is, forgive me if you're a Gerald Ford fan, but he is the equivalent of Gerald Ford going into office and at least Gerald Ford had experience in Congress before he was suddenly put into a vacant Oval Office.
Yeah.
That whole, let's get rid of Spiro Agnew on a trumped-up charge, and then he's out, so we have to put in Gerald Ford as VP, who was never elected to that office. And then, suddenly he's president because now Nixon is out. And we need to put somebody, we'll put in Rockefeller.
Nelson Rockefeller, yeah. Nelson Rockefeller, who is prominently featured in the book The Secret War Against the Jews by John Loftus and Mark Ahrens, which kind of brings us full circle back to the story of Trump talking about the intelligence community trying to keep information from him about China's election interference. That was one of the takeaways from that book, The Secret War Against the Jews. The intelligence community has always been rogue here in the United States, at least for the last 100 years. They were doing things that Roosevelt didn't know about, that Truman didn't know about, Eisenhower. They were working behind the scenes at cross purposes sometimes to what the president wanted regarding Israel. But the takeaway is that the president really doesn't run his government as much as he'd like to think he does. Now, maybe that's changed a bit with Trump in his second term, with John Ratcliffe at CIA, Tulsi Gabbard, and now she's got an acting DNI who basically has gone in and said, we're going to fire a whole bunch of you fellas. And I think that's Trump trying to clean out the swamp, and I pray that that's successful. But we see, as with the media's response to his speech this past week, the media is essentially an extension of the intelligence community. But Nelson Rockefeller, during World War II, according to Loftus and Ahrens, was running an intelligence office with responsibility for Central and South America. And because he was the scion, if you will, of the Rockefeller, the branch of the Rockefeller family that controlled Standard Oil of New Jersey, he was running his office to benefit Standard of New Jersey, which meant granting favors to Germany during World War II, but making the Brits pay full price. You want a base in South America, you're going to pay full price. Germans, they get free office, and we'll just kind of keep hands off, even though we know they're using Venezuela as a spy base and so forth. They were also involved in the oil trade from King Ibn Saud of Saudi Arabia through Francisco Franco of Spain to Germany. In other words, they were selling oil to the Germans during World War II. And when Senator Harry S. Truman of Missouri was going to launch an investigation into what Rockefeller and Standard Oil of New Jersey was doing, the response they got was, gee, it'd be a shame if something were to happen to the oil supply. Y'all need to run your war. And so Truman had to drop the investigation.
Now, isn't it interesting?
They blackmailed the government of the United States and got away with it. And yet he wound up as vice president of the United States without having a single vote cast for him.
I know.
Ford becoming president.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Now, in World War I, Germany backed the Ottomans. Mm-hmm. That's why they were the losers when the Ottomans went down. Mm-hmm. They backed the wrong horse. But the question is, why back the Ottomans?
Why were they allies?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Why were they allies?
Turks and Germans, I don't know.
Was it because Germany wanted access to oil? Because oil had been discovered. Oil was known in the late 19th century, the 1990s. Oil was known about.
1890s.
1890s, sorry, yeah, 1890s. It was known, and there were experiments being run on it by Daimler over in Germany, as in Daimler Chrysler.
Yeah, today.
Daimler created the first combustion engine in Germany.
Well, it's possible, because as the Ottoman Empire broke up, suddenly you had Britain in Persia, which later became Iran during the time of the mustache guy. Because the king of Persia said, okay, we are the land of the Aryans. That's what
the
Iran means. The
mustache guy?
Little teeny blue mustache.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a wonderful video clip of Norm Macdonald. Remember him? Comedian who was did Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a weekend update for a while. And his were funnier, I think, than Chevy Chase's. Norm Macdonald did a joke where he said, the country that doesn't worry me, it's not Russia, it's not North Korea, it's not Iran. The country that worries me the most? Germany. Because, about 100 years ago or so, they decided to go to war. And who'd they declare war against? The world. And, that didn't work out so well for them. But it was, you'd think that the world versus Germany would be pretty quick, but actually it was kind of close. And 20 years later, Germany decides it's going to go to war again. And who'd they go to war with again? The world. Of course, they did have that guy, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's sort of a funny bit, and I can't do Norm Macdonald justice.
That was the shorter of the two McDonalds, right? Because there were two. Kevin McDonald was the other one.
You're thinking Kids in the Hall.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about SCTV or?
No, I'm talking about Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay. Too many McDonald.
Yeah. Anyway, funny routine, but after the Second World War, of course, the Germans were sort of defanged, and they've been depending on the United States for its defense ever since. Anyway, and they too now are becoming overrun with Islamic invaders. Thank you to Angela Merkel for that.
Well, I'm just looking at the news about Germany, and as of 9 minutes ago, story saying that a former military training ground in Germany containing ammunition is on fire.
Okay.
Did it just naturally catch fire?
Well, don't know. I will just
Self-combusted?
say this, that an historic church, and this is the second one in the last couple of months, in New York City, has burned to the ground. And the city has already denied permission for the church to rebuild. And the same is true of the previous. And of course, nobody knows who is responsible. Arson is the cause, but they don't know who's responsible for burning these churches in areas where there just happen to be a lot of Muslims now.
Yeah, that's a strange thing, isn't it?
This was, a 200-year-old church in New York City, the Reformed Church of Astoria, which was established in 1839, that has been destroyed. Now the South Bushwick Reformed Church is another. And that was at a church that was established in 1853. So anyway, a couple of historic churches in New York City under Mayor Mamdani's watch that have gone up in flames.
Getting back to the whole idea of a shadow government, one of the historic campaigns that I have been researching for years now for the Red Wing Saga is informing and sort of forming the basis for my talk in Springfield, Missouri, which is called The Werewolves of London, but the talk is. But it's really about the shadows behind what we see in government and various policies of governments, including banking and the buildup of a new world order. These shadows, they take a lot of forms. And one of the forms in this massive historical game of risk between the fallen realm and the Lord God Almighty is referred to often as the Great Game or the Tournament of Shadows. Well, I'm reading a book now called Tournament of Shadows, and it's England trying to be king of the world, China trying to be king of the world, Russia trying to be king of the world, and eventually it gets into the United States trying to be king of the world. We've got a whole lot of regional leaders, and I think about those 10 kings waiting for their kingdoms.
Yeah.
Are we watching in this latest part of the Tournament of Shadows, including what China's trying to do over here with election interfering and things like that? Are we watching the end game beginning to play out?
I think we are. I think it just feels like we're getting really close. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that that's been the case for 2,000 years, the church at Thessalonica thinking that they'd missed the rapture. But the older I get, and I think you would agree, the closer it feels like we're getting.
Yeah.
Things have sped up, it seems, since... I know there was no, cataclysmic event that took place on December 21st of 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar. But it feels like since then, things with gender ideology, with communist ideology, have just become more and more open, and Islamic incursions into, Western nations.
May I suggest that something did happen then, but it was subtle. What is the big change was December of 2020.
Oh,
when Saturn conjuncted with
the Great Mutation.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
The Great Mutation, where the Great Mutato, getting to an X-Files reference, but it was as if the god Jupiter, who is Satan, was handing off permission to Saturn,
Shemyaza, i.e. Allah,
right,
i.e.
saying,
Abaddon, Apollyon.
Daddy, I promised to get you out, and it's going to kick off.
Yeah.
I think 2020 changed the world. Beginning then,
yeah.
I mean, it's like suddenly, you know, those of you who have dealt with cockroaches in your house, you don't know they're there until you walk into the kitchen and turn on the lights. I have lived in student housing. I can tell you what it's like to have them everywhere. Mm-hmm. You just got used to it. I got to where I just slam them, just hit them with my hands to kill them. But it's that kind of thing. The light has been turned on, but they're not afraid. Cockroaches are photophobic.
Yeah, yeah.
It's as if the light has now, it's almost as if it's illuminated darkness. We now see all of this evil that's been breeding in the background come out and say, we've got a right to be here. Mm-hmm. We're going to come in here and we're going to take all your stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. And in fact, I commented on that in the introduction to the book, The Second Coming of Saturn, that I was writing it during that season where we saw the great conjunction, or the great mutation, as astrologers called it. But yeah, these last 5-6 years have seemed really bizarre. It's like, what is going on?
It's like we woke up into an entirely different world.
Yeah. I mean, the summer of 2020, leading up to that, of course, the summer of George Floyd, the fiery but mostly peaceful protests. Mm-hmm. And this belief since then that wherever, for example, the protest against ICE here in the United States, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, people believing that they've got a right to be violent and reacting almost as though they're surprised when it turns out that that is not the case. It's like, you can't arrest me. Yeah, actually we can, because you're interfering with an authorized and legal law enforcement operation.
And at the same time that those evils done in the dark are coming into the light, those people who actually do represent salt and light, believers, Christians, our free speech is being threatened.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Elon Musk is so hated by people in the in the governments of Europe and the United Kingdom. They think that he is actually a threat to the accepted order, but it's because he's allowing nobodies like us to express our views without interference.
Yeah.
Which they just cannot tolerate.
Yeah, it's very rare that an account is chastised on X.
Yeah.
You get to pretty much say what you want so long as you are not harming another individual, threatening bodily harm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we are living in interesting times, and whether we go before that final 7 years begins or sometime in the middle, we don't believe it in a post-trib rapture, although we've got good friends who do.
We do believe in a rapture, and Derek and I are just pre-trib, but you know what? Whatever the Lord's plans are, he may call us home before any of that kicks off.
Exactly.
We don't know. Yeah. So live today to the best of your ability, serving Christ.
Yeah, and I would just say this. Those of you who are, pre-wrath, mid-trib, post-trib, those of us who are pre-trib we're not viewing it as a get out of tribulation free card, because Jesus said all of his followers would endure tribulation regardless of when in history we live. We view it as a wake-up call. It's like, hey, the time is growing short, so we need to be busy about our King's business.
Exactly.
This is not an excuse to sit back on our hands. And I don't know any pre-trib believers who feel that way.
Neither do I. In fact, we feel led to do everything we can because our opportunity may be gone in a flash.
Yeah. So there are a lot of guys out there that I respect, and call brothers and will not divide over. Indeed, don't even want to argue the point.
No, we don't.
And I'm a guy who'd like, I'm like the guy in the
I know.
Monty Python sketch who pays a $5 to have a good argument. I don't want to argue about this particular aspect
No.
because it's taking energy away from what we should be doing, which is sharing the hope we have in Christ. We've got plenty of enemies outside the gates. Let's
all
unite and try to pull the wounded in behind our lines so they can be ministered to.
Amen
Let's not
to that.
argue over.
Amen to that.
I'm going to stop before I get myself into
Well,
trouble.
I tell you what, let's do the old geezer report, and then we'll tell you about the conferences.
That sounds like a good idea.
I'll very quickly just say that I am still working on my book. My days are different now and have been for a couple of years. I spend a lot of time doing jobs that I didn't used to have to do. But I am grateful that the Lord has allowed me to do these things. He's kept me strong enough to help Derek out. And I am so grateful for that. So the speed at which I used to write a book in 3 months.
Yeah.
In fact, the very first book I ever wrote, which was Winds of Evil, that I published, I wrote that in 30 days. Less than 30 days. I wrote it in 20 days.
Yeah. That was part of the National Novel Writing Month Challenge. Get to 50,000 words in 30 days.
And this is,
past that.
I can write really fast when Derek does everything else practically. And that's a fact. I can write really quickly if that's all I have to do.
Yeah.
But my day is filled with many, many other things.
Yeah, I can no longer drive. So Sharon has to do all of the things that involve driving, going to the post office, going to the bank.
Working in the yard.
Anything that involves balance or eye-hand coordination, hand strength.
I'm also a caregiver, and that, like I put his pills together and everything. There's a lot of stuff I do, but I don't mind doing it because the Lord has allowed me to do it. And so thank you for being so patient. I have finished the release of the free readership on Substack of Blood Lies, the very first book. If you've ever wanted to read Blood Lies, it's all there. I released the chapters, like one a week or something like that for the last 26 or so weeks. So Substack, it is SharonKGilbert.substack.com, and I will start putting Blood Rights out there, probably when we get back from the conferences.
Okay. My OG report, I begin the intravenous immunoglobulin treatments on Monday. So Monday morning, we'll be going up to Springfield tomorrow afternoon and staying overnight in a hotel because it just is
It's easier, especially when you have to be there at 6 in the morning at the hospital.
And that's the case Tuesday. Tomorrow wouldn't have been so bad, except that it's just...
Monday, I thought you had to be there. Anyway.
No, at 9, but going in early because I've got some lab work that has to be done for the hematologist-oncologist.
And it's an hour drive.
Yeah. So rather than drive up an hour, drive back an hour, and then repeat that on Tuesday, we're just going to go up there and stay for a couple of nights in a hotel across the street from the hospital. And on Monday, get some blood work done for the heme-onc, as the medical professionals say.
Hematologist, oncologist.
Yeah, he wants to check a few things, and he's still looking at the hemoglobin levels. He's feuding with my primary care physician because my PCP's got me on testosterone, and that's elevated my hemoglobin levels. So
But you've reduced the amount that you're using, so it should go down. We'll see.
that's the prayer. I'll also drink a lot of water before we go over to the...
That does make a difference.
Yeah. And so Monday and Tuesday, I'll be spending about 4 hours each in the hospital. And that's a process that will repeat itself, or at the infusion center, rather.
Every 3 weeks.
And that'll repeat every 3 weeks. So I've got dates already for August. We'll probably need to do it again toward the end of August. And we will see hopefully the results within the first couple of months.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. The purpose of the intravenous immunoglobulin is that they will inject healthy antibodies into my system, which should shock or reset my immune system so that it stops attacking my nerves and muscles. And if that is the case, I would be happy to just to regain full function of my hands.
I know.
Because typing is
almost impossible.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's much slower, and I make a lot of errors because
but
of the trigger finger on both sides. I can't hit the keys the way I used to.
You need to grip your cane with a very strong hand, and that's more difficult now. Derek now at night uses a walker. So many of you out there, look, you're dealing with this stuff too.
Yeah.
You're dealing with cancer. You're dealing with autoimmune disorders. Many of you have COPD. Many of you are dealing with life-threatening issues, or you have a loved one that you're taking care of.
Yeah.
These can sap your energy. We get it.
Yeah.
And you're not alone. We just want you to know you are not alone.
Yeah. It is something that we're dealing with. I literally sleep 40 to 50% of each day. Mm-hmm. Anywhere from 10 to 12 hours a day. If I don't sleep 12 hours overnight, like last night, I think I slept maybe nine and a half.
But you also
I will
nap.
probably nap in the afternoon.
Yep.
So half my day is taken up with just sleeping because of the energy my body's expending fighting itself. On the
Maybe
one
you're
hand,
turning into a dachshund.
well, yeah, Sam, the ghost of Sam. And of course, we know this is not really how things work.
Sam would say, "Were he here?"
Sam would have said, "Were he here?" Saying, "Okay, yeah, we're on the same wavelength here. You just need a binky over there."
Yeah, and Dad, you need to sleep with your nose underneath the binky.
Under the binky. That's how you get the best sleep. Dachshunds are weird. So anyway, that's what's coming up. So every 3 weeks going forward, we'll be spending a couple of days in Springfield at the Mercy Hospital 4K Infusion Center, getting stuff right into my veins. So next week will be kind of busy because we'll spend the first 2 days of the week doing that. Wednesday coming back home and then packing to go spend more time in more in more hotels as we go to the conference in Brookville, Ohio, just outside Dayton. That will be the Go Therefore conference with Carl Gallups, Carl Teichgrib, Dr. Greg Reed. I've still got John Haller on the list here, but that is incorrect. It's Mark Musser and Dr. J.B. Hickson, who will be taking John Haller's place.
It takes two guys to replace John Haller.
Well, yeah, John is...
he's extraordinary.
He's a tough act to follow. Yes, he is. Mark is a missionary to Ukraine, but he's also written a very fascinating book that you can find in the archives at vftb.net, View from the Bunker, about, what's the book titled? Nazi Oaks.
Oh, yes.
The Nazis were very green, but it was part of their Odin worship. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And J.B. Hickson is a prophecy expert who very often appears at Prophecy Watchers conferences. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to seeing him again. We met him at the conference in Branson a while back.
That's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's GoThereforeConference.com.
Right.
And you can still sign up for streaming.
Yes. And the streaming video is really awesome because Pastor Neil Peterson and his team there at the Harvest Revival Center they've just got a fantastic team there. So the production values will be very high. And then the Remnant Rising Conference from Hear the Watchmen.
Just 20 days away. Yeah,
that's August 7th through 9th, just 2 weeks later after the conference in Ohio. Mm-hmm. That'll be at the Oasis Hotel and Conference Center in Springfield. This one is almost sold out.
There are very, very few spots left. And the reason that they can't just have an infinite number is because of fire codes. Right.
They were trying to find a way to shoehorn more seats in there without making the fire marshal upset.
Yeah.
But it is very, very close. If you are interested, you can check and find out if there are seats still available at hearthewatchmen.com. And if you can make it, please use promo code Gilbert20. That's Gilbert20, because that'll save you $20 on each in-person registration. Now, if you can't be there, streaming video is available for this one as well. And
get it now to save $20 because there's no promo code for this. But if you wait until the conference starts, you pay $20 more. Right now it's $59. It will go up to $79 then.
Yeah. And you don't want to just go ahead and sign up. And there's some great speakers here: Jamie Walden, Vicki Joy Anderson, Kenny C. Everybody loves Kenny C.
Well, I love Kenny C.
Yeah.
He's like a son to me.
Pastor Larry Ragland.
Oh, Larry Ragland.
Yeah.
He is such a great guy. He helped Kenny C out.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Transporting an EECP machine from
Oh,
Louisville.
really? I didn't see that Larry was part of that.
Yep.
Yeah, they met and became friends at the Blurry Creatures Conference
Yep.
last year. So, and we got a chance to meet Larry at Skywatch TV here recently, so we're looking forward to seeing him again.
Yep.
I talked with John Pounders, host of Now You See TV, the other day. In fact, I need to get back to him. He may be able to use our facility for an interview that he's planning to do.
The barn.
I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not going to.
No,
say
don't spoil that.
But it would be
yeah,
a very
he may be
important
using the
interview.
barn.
Yeah.
So thank you to all of those who helped to build a barn better.
Yep, and Tony Merkel of now of the Confessionals, he's going to be there as well, and that's going to be
Dave Hodges, Patrick McCurdy,
Tracy Tennant.
Yes, Tracy Tennant, David Paxton, Josh Tolley, Kenny C, as we said, and Derek and I will both be speaking as well. Ashley Schrader, by the way,
Yes.
she's going to, I think, be talking about the tick bite.
Yeah, boy, we've had some ticks here in Southwest Missouri the last few years.
Yep. I think her ministry is called Beyond the Bite.
Beyond the Bite, yeah. And she was at the conference last year. In fact, got a chance to meet her and say hello to her. Very nice young lady.
Now she's going to speak.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much the lineup. Oh, and of course, praise and worship from Gerard James and Sarah Weiss.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to actually sing with them.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, yeah. She sent me some music and asked if I would help to sing with that one.
That'll be awesome. I missed it last year when you were singing with them. I was just so wiped out. I didn't even wake up when you got up and left the hotel room.
Aw.
So I was just like,
I realize you do need a lot of sleep, and I'll tell you, those conferences, they can really wipe you out, which is why if you want to come and say hi to us if you're there, please come to our table early because Derek and I both get tired.
yes, and also because we are going to be offering some very, at both conferences.
Crazy conference pricing.
Yes, discount pricing on our books, DVDs, T-shirts, caps.
Everything is going to be $10 each.
Yeah.
That is crazy prices. Seriously, that is crazy prices. So if you are there in person at either a conference, please come up to our table because that's when you're going to be able to buy all you want for $10 a piece.
Yes. So we're just looking to blow out the inventory, and you'll have an opportunity to do that at these conferences. We don't do as many conferences as we used to.
No, not at all. But we don't have the energy to.
Yeah. We're saving it up for next year's Tour of Israel.
That
the
is
2027
so right.
tour, October 24th through November 3rd of 2027. We backed it up because of the ongoing hostilities, shall we say, the on-again, off-again hostilities with Iran. And that's understandably dissuaded some people, discouraged some people from signing up.
What's going on in Lebanon as well, because we like to go to the north of Israel.
Yes.
And we want to be able to go to the north of Israel.
Take you to the gates
year.
of hell, right. So more information and a place to register at gilberthouse.org/travel, gilberthouse.org/travel, or there's a link if you go to the calendar in our app, and then just follow the link there where it says Gilbert House Ministries 2027 Israel Tour. Tap that button. That takes you right to the Lipkin Tours website. Testing it now. Yes, perfect. It works.
Yay!
So that's what's going on.
That is indeed.
Tomorrow morning, of course, the Gilbert House Fellowship Bible Study. We'll be back tomorrow evening. Iron and Myth, episode 52.
Oh, more cowbell coming.
Dr. Cowbell incoming. Dr. Judd Burton, we had a comment 1 month where they wanted Judd to talk more. Said, he's my cowbell. I need more cowbell. So he is Dr. Cowbell now. Judd Burton, Doug Van Doren, Brian Godawa. We talk about Frankenstein and the Bible. So Brian is a storyteller, but theologically speaking, what are the themes that we can take from the Frankenstein genre, the mythos?
The books and the films and things like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that is tomorrow night on A View from the Bunker. That'll be released at 7 p.m. Central Time, UTC -5 if you're keeping track. And until then, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert. We love all of you so very, very much. And Jesus loves you too. Bye-bye, everybody.
prophecies and conspiracy. Peering into darkness is what we do. Dare again, Sharon.